Hello, hello, hello. I'm under here somewhere. My name is Amber Greenlee. If you haven't tuned in before, this is Philo. Philo is a improv comic, we'll call this week, I guess, where chat basically writes the story. And so we're going to do a quick review. I have my fantastic co-host, Miss Robin, on. Hi, Miss Robin. This is Robin Fisher, amazing Canadian. We're going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con, which we are totally feeling FOMO about this week. And, of course, my guest artist this week is Dale Cipperley from the San Jose area. And Dale was our artist last week. Hi, Beep Beep. Dale was our artist last week. And, so he actually kind of knows what's going on. Let me get our screens up here. And I will kind of review where we're at.
Beep is right on time.
Yeah, Meep Beep. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it, Meep Beep. You're good people. So, okay, so where we are in the story, I'm gonna zoom in so it's easier to see.
Before we start, I wanted to say something quickly. Nobody knows. Well, you mentioned it last episode, but not a lot of people realize how much work you do behind the scenes. And I just wanted to give you some props and thanks because, you did those cliff notes, and now you've done character bios, I guess. And I don't know, that's a lot of extra work. And you always promote stuff to your friends to come and join us. You do a lot of work behind the scenes on the show, and I wanted you to know that. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Robin. I try and make it. Hi, Magic Marmot. I try and make it good for everybody. And I haven't made the Cliff Notes live yet to regular people. Right now, it's just kind of notes that I've been sharing with the other artists so that they're kind of in tune with what's going on. But I'll show it off today.
And very helpful.
It's going to take me a second to get it queued up because, again, I had to reboot my computer before the show, so all my links are not there. And then Ian's trying to get a cat and cat cam for me. And so, but I digress. So where we left,
Ian is herding cats.
He is herding cats. So, cat cam's a little little skewed right now because I was trying to show cats on the floor, but that is the Columbo cat, and Columbo has one eye, and he is a beautiful, very kind of skittish, I'm king of the world cat. And so he's good. He's good cat. He'll be cat cam tonight. And so Meow disapproves of the chaos that's going inside of his money bin with the pants off dance off that was going on. And so there's a record scratch and everyone stops. Don't scratch my vinyl, says Meow. And Armand, the bartender from the Stomach Realm, and Meow fight over the vinyl because Meow thinks it's his and Armand brought his own. And the record's destroyed, which releases the killer bees of the Wu-Tang clan. And so the killer bees reject Meow's records. They take Armand's records with them and then looting at the money bin. And the last panel that I left off at, if I'm gonna, let me put this over on the other screen real quick. So the last panel that I left off at was Philo losing his pants. And so this was the first panel of page 21. And so this is where we left off is Philo trips over his pants. And so today's episode is called Down with Pants.
Down with Pants.
Yes, I was very proud of myself for that stupid pun.
I feel bad that I'm wearing pants now.
I'm wearing
pajamas. Does that count?
I'm wearing kind of a skirt thing. It
Skirt?
has, a skirt is a skirt that's also shorts. And so it has shorts underneath, but a skirt on top. So,
quite popular in tennis, in fact.
Yes, I am quite a fan of the skirt. They're comfortable. And I also don't like,
and they look nice.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones I have pockets.
No, pockets are the best.
There was a short fad when I worked at Apple in the early 2000s for guys to get utility-kilts.
Utility-kilts, yes, I remember those.
Fortunately, I escaped that fad.
In Vancouver, there was a place that supplied wood, and all the guys there had denim kilts.
Well, okay. So people have this like stereotype down here in the States that like there's lumberjacks, a glory, I guess, up in Canada. I
There
don't
are,
know if
yeah.
that's true.
There are. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't see them very often because they're in the fucking woods.
yeah, but you have this like stereotypical image of the giant beard and the plaid and
Yeah.
just this like
But
guy
actually,
that
they're
has
kind of
naturally earned muscles.
they exist, but we don't talk about them because we want to keep our trees safe, and it's a touchy subject.
Absolutely. But timber is also one of Canada's biggest industries too. So
Well, if
it's a double-edged sword.
What they should be doing is glorifying tree planters, because the guys that plant the trees are just as freaking buff, spend just as much time in the woods as the lumberjacks. The other thing though about lumberjacks is we have this thing that you guys don't know about that it doesn't exist anymore, but we used to have these guys called log drivers.
Yeah.
And all Canadian kids know it because there's this song called the Log Driver Waltz that's a cartoon that they showed on CBC between television shows. But like these are these guys that used to like jump from log to log to log as the logs were shunting along in the rivers.
Yeah.
And like they would direct them with spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember what book that's described in. Jack London wrote about
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Call of the Wild.
So it might have been Call of the Wild. I went on a Jack London spree, in my early 20s. I've read like 5 of his books. And so it might have been Call of the Wild, but I don't remember. So, okay, Cliff Notes. So this isn't live to people yet. This is just kind of something I've been working on. But I got the 5 commandments of Philo for the artists, which is thou shalt draw fast, thou shalt name your panel numbers, thou shalt write in thy captions first. Handwriting is okay. Thou shalt do thy tech check, and thou shalt have fun. And so character notes, because we do have kind of a story going on with different characters.
Sure, we do.
And so I wrote all this. I tried to find pretty good panels of it. And so like you can see here, I just kind of put all the kaiju in one panel, because it's the Kaiju Council and then various kaiju. So even though Godzilla is technically the prosecution of the kaiju, I include him in the kaiju panel so that I didn't have like a million panels. And so, yeah, you can see there's Venus de Phila. Here's a reference to the women of Willendorf, which is what we were talking about when we made these characters of the Willendorfs. And then there's Armand, Spies. And I wasn't able to get this completely updated today because, it is a lot of work. Put a lot of stuff today. But I was planning on getting it updated probably before next week, completely up. I just hadn't gotten to it yet. So if people are curious about the Cliff Notes, that's what we're talking about. I've been sharing it with my artists and Robin, but it's not something I have live for people yet because it's something I'm still working on. Let's see, I'm wearing shorts, says Magic Marmot. And then we have them here too. D&D and cosplaying has got me busy, so I'm trying to make it to streams, but it's kind of hard. No worries, Meat Beef. This week is San Diego Comic-Con, and that's amazing. And there's so much cosplay there. The game is so high this year for cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, the makeup's amazing. I'm so happy. So
everyone has a channel now.
Yeah, I suppose that's true too.
I'll bet you at least half of that cosplay is ads for their own channels.
That's true. It could be a lot of advertising, and there's also influencers that will go down there that aren't really into comics, but they're into advertising themselves, and they look good in costumes. There's a lot that's going on in San Diego.
I used to be friends with a girl like that. Not that we're not friends anymore, but basically I was like her fabric pusher. Yeah. And she's kind of famous in Canada. She did the Canadian Bachelor, and then she was in 2 seasons of Canadian Bachelor in Paradise. But she's a really good cosplayer, and I'm surprised she's not in San Diego this year because I've seen pictures of her. I guess she went to Toronto for the Wolverine Deadpool premiere because she got her photo taken as Lady Deadpool with both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Nice.
So, yeah, she's been invited to this cosplay con in Italy. Like,
Yeah.
she's a judge. She went last year, and she's so good. She does a lot of really cool mashups, and people have made statues and stuff of her. Recently, someone posted one of her mashups, and they were all these people were like, "That's AI. That's not real." And I'm like, "No, that's my friend Lisa. That's real."
Well,
Yeah, she did Sailor Moon Knight was the big one. Another one she did was Elsa and Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat mashed up.
I remember several years ago there was April O'Neil, who is an adult actress, and she took on the name April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics.
Right.
But she went to Comic-Con dressed as April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja comics, and it's Ninja Turtle comics, and it's amazing. It's like she was April O'Neil. She looked like her. It was amazing. So okay, we got to get to Philo. His pants dropped down. I'm going to take panel 1, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do for panel 2. So Dale is drawing as well. But what happens? His pants fall down. Does everybody collapse over him?
Well, it looks like it's already starting to happen where everybody's collapsing because Otis is half down.
Yeah. Okay, I got to fix my Huion. This happens when you reboot sometimes. It likes to point at the wrong screen. See?
Okay, so Philo's pants have fallen down.
Yeah.
Causing all of the other characters to trip and drop their treasure.
Yeah. Okay.
Now would be a good time for some auxiliary character to break in with a commercial saying this would not have happened if you'd been wearing a kilt.
This would not have happened if you were wearing what?
A kilt.
A kilt. Or what about suspenders?
No, suspenders, yeah. No, wait a minute. Actually,
it could be a kilt and suspender emporium.
You want to take their pants off.
It could be a kilt and suspender emporium.
Yeah, lots of kilt guys wear suspenders. I've seen it.
Yeah, you know.
But I just realized they would have had to take the kilt off anyway because the Daleks made them.
Yeah. Oh, well, they just would have to lift it, wouldn't they? You know, I mean, if you're wearing it traditionally, no underwear. So we have some chat. I'm going to another con. I don't know when, says Meep Beep. I finished my prototype drag rake today. We were going to take it down to the river to give it a first real run, but the mower won't start, so we can't get it down to the river. And then the Meep Beep says, my number one goal is to actually make a big cosplay. Good for you, Meep Beep. Magic Marmot says, ooh, a suspender emporium commercial.
What's a drag rake?
A rake that you drag behind a tractor to collect things like leaves and debris.
So he's taking it to the water to drag for garbage?
No, there's probably a lot of leaves down at the riverbank, and to test it on the leaves.
Cool. I've never met anyone who did that.
At least we're pulling
cattails. What?
Yeah.
Don't hurt the cat's tails.
So we're gonna have them all collapse, and then it's the commercial for the suspender emporium, right?
Yes.
Suspender. Yeah, make it like, remember in UHF with Weird Al, or all of a sudden it'd be an ad for like Spatula City.
Yeah.
Completely absurd.
Who's the spokesperson?
Should it be somebody that we already established?
Santa Claus is the spokesperson.
Who?
I think
Santa Claus. Because when he's at home in the North Pole, he wears kilts, and we don't know that because we don't see him at home in the North Pole. But he wears suspenders and kilts.
Who does?
Santa Claus.
Okay, Santa's. Okay, so you want Santa's.
No, he's just the spokesperson. He doesn't own the place.
Okay, Santa is the spokesperson.
He's the commercial figurehead.
Suspender and kilt emporium.
That's
what I'm going with.
Who's doing the panel? You're doing
I'm doing panel 1,
okay.
And I'm having the guy interject with everybody collapsed. Like he's stepping in. And that's kind of what I'm going to draw. So for the next one, are we continuing the commercial then?
Yeah, it should be. I guess I should be doing some sort of TV commercial with Santa showing off his suspenders and kilt.
Should it be Armand dressed as Santa since he has so many jobs? You know,
Uh,
he's just an octopus trying to survive.
You want? Well, I think it should be Armand and Santa.
And Santa?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
like yeah. Okay, I can do that. I
Okay.
can do that.
No, wait. Are you doing that or am I doing that?
Again, I'm having them come in. I'm gonna have Armand showing the logo or something like that as everyone's like collapsed behind them. So
Okay.
that's my thinking. I don't know if I'm doing this right. It's pretty
Okay,
sad when
and
you're
then
starting to question
I
your own
should
thing.
You're showing Armand with everyone collapsed, and I'm going to show Armand and Santa with everyone collapsed behind them.
I was gonna draw Santa in this panel too. But
Okay.
I was thinking, so this wouldn't have happened if you shopped at the Suspender and Kilt Emporium. Well, shouldn't we see the Suspender and Kilt
That's a
Emporium?
good. I like that line. Good line.
Yeah, but shouldn't we see the Suspender and Kilt Emporium?
Maybe like in a box off to the right, it shows the building itself with the big sign or something.
Let's see. I'm gonna have like.
But is
Philo's
Santa
gonna be
there, or
down
is
here.
Santa going to be in the commercial, like in the box in the
Well,
corner?
I draw the building for the. How about I draw the building for the shop?
Okay, yeah, you know, and like open Sunday, you know,
Yeah.
like let's have fun with it. Do you in Canada? Did you ever have those like
Yeah.
monster truck rally guys? Did you
Yeah.
have that guy? The
Yeah.
guy that went Sunday.
Yeah,
Be
we did.
there.
We've got a lot
Yeah.
of things you did. I went and saw the Harlem Globetrotters a few times in Canada. We get a lot
Nice.
of things you guys did. We did a lot of those weird things. We have the Pacific National Exhibition and I think the Canadian National Exhibition, and these are like giant epic fairs that happen over the summer, over like 2 months of weekends and evenings, and they're like, you know, it's like a giant fair with like rides and stuff, but also concerts and food, and you know, it's a lot of fun. Canada is not all that different from you guys.
Yes,
Well-
And in fact, the funniest line I ever heard about Canada and why I went and saw the guys from South Park. They came and they did a talk in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And it was after the movies. And somebody in the audience said, you know, why do you guys always rip on Canada? And the truth is they have a lot of Canadian writers, so they're not really ripping on Canada.
Yeah.
The Canadians are ripping on themselves. But they would, anytime
Well,
anyone asked that question, they would give a
not-
different answer.
It's
and so-
not ripping on Canada, okay? Like when they had the two Canadian guys with the farty, and I forget their
Terrence and Philip.
Terrence and Philip, thank you. When they had Terrence and Philip break up, right? Their fight was, I don't believe in you, guy. Hey, guy, I don't like your attitude, man. Right? Like they weren't even insulting each other because you guys are so nice.
Yeah. But, so to finish my story, Scott Thompson, one of the guys in Kids in the Hall, asked them, like, you know, why you always rip on Canada? And their answer was that at that time was because you're basically a benign version of us. And Scott Thompson got so mad, they were like, we're going to use that answer every time now. We're benign American.
I wouldn't say that, because Canada is similar in the ways that like Sweden and Denmark are similar, but they're still different. You know,
Yeah,
they still have
it's
different
true.
histories. They have it's a kinship. I see us as kind of sister countries because we are right next to each other and we've had similar histories. And
We're your toque.
well, not just by the toques and stuff, but I'm thinking of the French trappers. That the Louisiana Territory was French territory before it was an American territory, and so the French fur trappers that they had went all the way from Louisiana, you know, way down south, deep Mississippi, like south, you know, where they created Cajun country. all the way north to the Yukon. You know, that is a huge influence and a similar upbringing.
Do you know why that happened?
Because didn't they like the natives? Weren't they happy with them?
No, it was the British came and they fought the French up in Canada, and the French lost, and the British said, well, we could slaughter you all, or you could just move down to the States down there away from us. And so that's what they did. They all moved down to the Mississippi to New Orleans, and that's why there's a heavy like French quotient in the whole New Orleans patois.
Well, that makes sense.
They were exiled. The French were exiled, and they still haven't forgotten it. They talk about it in French Canada to this day. But I like to say, all's fair in love and war. The Brits could have slaughtered you all. It's not my fault that I was born British.
Well, okay, here's my question. Okay, is that one of the reasons why Quebec wants to break away and kind of they want to be like independent, but still use the Canadian loonie?
It cracks me up because it makes me think about the teenager that's so mad at their parents that they're just like, I'm moving out, but you're paying my rent.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
And, you know, I lived there for 8 years from 2006 to 2013. And there were still people my age that wanted to separate. It's kind of ridiculous. But, you know, their license plate, like all our license plates, yours too, right? All our license plates have like a little motto. Yeah. You know, Ontario, it's like yours to discover. Yeah. And Manitoba is like friendly Manitoba. Well, in Quebec is Je me souviens, which means we will remember. I think it's either we won't forget or we will remember. Like, it's really ominous. And you're just like, okay, Quebec.
Well, I told you about New Hampshire, live free or die.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was the Texas one, live free or die.
No, that's New Hampshire. Live free or die. Yeah. Yeah. No, let's see. What does Texas license plate say? It's almost as bad. Let's see. Texas license plate saying. Let's see. Texas license plate saying. The Lone Star State.
Oh, I remember. That's what it's. Ours translates to I remember.
I remember. I will never forget.
They're intense people, man. You know, everybody, when 9/11 happened, people forgot that Canada had one of the first terrorist actions on its own soil. And it was a Quebecois party, and they'd kidnapped a parliamentarian. And they were kind of stupid, and they'd accidentally killed him. But they were also setting off bombs around the province. And it was kind of scary at the time. Like, my mom can't talk about it. She gets really angry. And my dad actually participated in it because they flew in the Canadian military to create, it was like a sort of martial law situation. And my dad tells the story about how he was called from exercise, and exercise is when they do their pretend war games. He was called from an exercise, and he was an officer, so he was told to get in a helicopter with some of his men. They weren't told where they were going. They were in complete gear with their rifles and everything. They were flying over Quebec, and my dad saw all these fires, and he started freaking out because he was like, what the hell is going on? Is there a civil war happening? We were just away from the news and stuff. This is in the late 60s. This is early 70s. Late 60s. And so when they land, it's all pitch black and somebody's coming out of the fog. And my dad was ready to shoot the guy. But then he showed up, and he was a French-Canadian military guy. And he was telling him everything that was happening. And the fires that my dad saw were actually a smelting factory nearby. But still, it was really intense times. And in fact, the publisher of Drawn and Quarterly has done a comic about it. It just got published this past year. I forget what it's called, but maybe it was called The October Crisis, because that's what we call it. Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And that was when we learned the mettle of our current Prime Minister's father, because Pierre Trudeau was the Prime Minister at the time that this happened. Our current Prime Minister's father, and he was a pretty tough dude. Sometimes people ask, like, there's this really famous quote of his where the media was asking him, like, what are you going to do about the situation? What are you going to do? And he just goes, watch me. Like, Pierre Trudeau had balls, man. He had balls.
Oof. Yeah, I didn't know that Justin Trudeau was a legacy vote.
Oh, damn. Yeah, he's Camelot. He's Canadian Camelot. His mother, do you know about his mother?
No,
Margaret Trudeau. She was like a hippie. She was a hippie child and Pierre was like, I think 20 years older than her. And she started like gallivanting when he became prime minister and just like doing whatever she wanted. She ended up hooking up with Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. There's tons of photos of her at Studio 54. If you read Andy Warhol's diaries, that book, he talks about her incessantly. He's like obsessed with her for a while. So yeah, this is Justin's mom. She's a famous Canadian debutante. I don't know what you'd call her, Margaret.
Yeah.
They of course eventually divorced because he was like 20 years older than her. Yeah. But she was very smart and very cultured. That's why he married her. Like he he's a very smart man and he was looking for someone just as smart, but she was quite young.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of similar to how Leonardo DiCaprio breaks up with his girlfriends when they turn 25.
I was 28.
I wouldn't say it's similar to that. I just think that, she decided that she didn't want to be married anymore because she wanted to screw around and party.
Yeah.
And to be fair, she was 20, 21, 22, and she deserved to. She had her kids and now it was time for fun.
Usually people have fun before they have the kids.
But that's the thing, like, he married her, so she didn't get a chance to have fun.
Yeah. Let's see.
He had to buckle down and be Canada's premier, amazing mother and wife because she was Prime Minister's partner. It's tough. She's written quite a few books about it because I think she also discovered she was manic depressive. And she's been honest about it, which is quite. People really admire her for that because she's been very honest about her struggles.
So we've been having some chat that I totally ignored. I'm sorry. Let's see. Ooh, a Suspender Emporium commercial. We're pulling cattails. Overgrown. Santa's got a side gig. Mainly just to make a prop because I never get to make one before, says Meat Beep. Magic Marmot says, maybe focus on the Emporium display. Take the i5 to the Slauson cutoff and cut off your Slauson. Magic Marmot also says, approaching 30 is getting too old for a side piece.
Oh, don't let anyone hear you say that.
Well,
there's people my age that have a side piece.
Well, I mean, I think that he's making a joke. Yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
There's a lot of people. Joking. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have like side pieces, but they're they're way younger than that, or they're way older than that. Let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to draw them like all collapsed with like treasure on top of them. Here,
Magic Marmot says his side piece is 61.
His side piece is 61. Yeah, so let's see. So this is kind of where I'm at with this. And we'll draw the dog down here. Going, life sucks. I'm a dog. I got collapsed on. Oh no.
You always do Brutus's face perfect. You always like, nah.
Reference helps. I love reference. I literally, as like you were telling your story, I looked it up. I'm gonna look up the Beagle Boys here in a second too. Yeah.
What happened to the Beagle Boys' mom?
I don't know. I'm just
died under the treasure.
She was buried by the gold.
Yeah.
She's buried by the gold.
Hey, you know what I learned? I can't remember if I learned it. I think I learned it in Harry Potter. I never realized this in all my years of reading fantasy and stuff, but they posited that the reason why the dragons like the gold so much is they like eat it.
Yeah, it's part of their diet.
Yeah. I've never, none of the fantasy books I've ever read have talked about that. But I've never read Lord of the Rings. Maybe just Smeagol or whatever his name. No, not Smeagol. That's, what's his head? What's the big dragon's name? Smog? Does Smog eat gold?
I know that he made a bed of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Some dragons eat it, and others use it as litter, like a cat would.
Oh. My brother and I are watching
they
the new
just
Game of
liked it.
Thrones series.
I thought they liked it just because shiny.
Oh, because it's shiny. They're like crows.
Yeah.
No, they poop on it.
My brother and I are watching that new Game of Thrones series called House of Dragons, and it's about the end of the dragon era. And I'm not watching it anymore because I like whenever something bad happens to those dragons, I'm like they're like dogs to me. I'm like, no, I can't do it. The dragon is so good. The dragon's so good.
He's just trying to help.
Yeah, exactly. Even in the Game of Thrones series, when we lost one of the dragons, I was like, no, I can't handle this. I'm not watching this anymore. The dragon.
There's a science fiction writer. Well, he's also a fantasy writer, Alan Dean Foster, and he had a short story about someone who had to hunt a dragon, and he knew that dragons eat gold, so he would use it as bait.
Use the gold for bait?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Well,
I want to say
Train Your Dragon series is pretty awesome too, eh? They did a really good job with that.
I seem to remember seeing in an anime once that they lured a dragon with the gold from the village in the center, and then when the dragon came for the gold, they killed the dragon. I don't remember which anime it was.
Maybe it was the evil dragon.
No, I remember what it was. It was Dragon's Dogma, but the anime that they made on Netflix.
Okay.
You know the video game Dragon's Dogma?
No, I do not. I mean the video game Dragon's Age.
No, Dragon's Dogma is it's interesting. So this guy, his village gets attacked by a dragon, right? And again, they had lured it with the gold and everything. But his village gets attacked, and during the time that he's attacked and stuff, he loses his daughter, he loses his wife and everything. And he gets his heart taken out by the dragon, right? Because the dragon's magic. And so he then pursues
it didn't kill him?
No, it didn't kill him, but it's like his soul is in his heart, so he's like a soulless thing now. And so
does the dragon own the soul?
Yes. And so he is pursuing the dragon with his pawn across the landscape to get his heart and soul back. And so he ends up killing the dragon at the end of it, and he's so overcome with rage, and he's a soulless thing at this point that he eats the heart of the dragon, which then turns him into the new dragon.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a good story. And again, this came from video games, but it's interesting. And the art was very good in the anime.
One of my favorite animes was Visions of Escaflowne, and that's one of those mecha ones where he has a robot that turns into a dragon ship. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually have the art of the Escaflowne movie. I have a book of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. That's really cool.
It's in Japanese.
Obviously. I've got a bunch of books like that too.
Yeah,
I've got the Nana book like that, and I've got a bunch of Fushigi. I got a couple Fushigi Yugi art books. The first one I got like that was Masumi Shiro, but I traded it in for the Serial Experiments Lane art book. And I've got a Katsuya Terada art book that's all in Japanese. Yeah, I've got a bunch of those art books too.
Yeah,
but that's what I was saying. I'd like to see the Escaflowne one. That would be pretty cool. My first experience with anime was in when I was 17. My best friend in high school, I was living in Sault Ste. Marie at the time, and my best friend in high school, he did a year exchange with the Rotary Club in Japan. This was in 1993, and when he came back, he brought back Battle Angel Alita. He brought back Dirty Pair. And he brought back Guyver. Guyver was really messed up. I had a hard time with it because somebody was getting raped with a gun, and it was the first time I'd seen a cartoon that was that violent and adult. Yeah. And then Dirty Pair was hilarious, and then Battle Angel changed my life because I was this the concept, everything was just amazing. I never thought they'd eventually make a live action movie of it.
Yeah,
But,
I didn't see the live action movie. I avoid previews and stuff. I started doing that years ago, and I find that I enjoy the things I watch more because the story hasn't been spoiled as much for me as it has for others. And then not only that, but I kind of listen to what people say. And if people don't like it, why would I waste myself? Why would I get hyped about something that's just going to disappoint me, right? And so if people are saying something's really good, then I'll watch it. And I find that I have enjoyed my stuff more doing that. And so it's hard with anime because it's like they're rebooting things, or sometimes they'll do something that it's like, okay, we're revisiting this. Like Evangelion was one that they did version 2.0 and then version 3.0. And I haven't even gotten into 2.0 or 3.0 because I haven't heard any reviews of it.
Well, sometimes the original is just as good. I rarely have watched any episodes of The American Office because I'm just so satisfied with the British one. I don't need to see anything else. I don't need to see the 2.0 and the 3.0.
They are comparable but different beasts.
Oh, I know they're totally different, and I know there's funny parts to the American one, but the British one is just so sublime.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying, and I've watched both, right? And the British one is very British humor and stuff, but the American one shifted towards American humor, and so it went in a different direction than the British one. So I wouldn't say discount it because it's a remake, because it goes in a totally different direction. Consider them having the same premise but different shows. They have the same premise.
Can we make an Alan Moore movie?
They're brothers, but they're not twins.
They're brothers, but not twins.
The two beasts. Yeah. I have to use the facilities, so I'll be a few minutes.
Okay, well, we'll talk about you while you're gone.
Sure, that's all right. Okay. My secret spies are listening.
That's okay. Yeah. Let's see. Magic Marmot says, yes, my side piece is 61, just her legs sticking out with the bloomers. I tried to get her legs sticking out with the bloomers. You can kind of see it there. I'm drawing in Meow right now. And, he's got to be angry. Oh, lost a cat. No more cat and cat cam. Bye, cat. I had a daughter come up and scare the cat away. Speaking of cats, how's Huey, Dale?
Huey is home. Huey, for those of you who don't know, Huey is a very famous cat who is a pal of mine. He has a TV show coming up, which is still in production. It's waiting on a prop that I have to make. And he's a good boy. He had a wound on his paw, and now it's all healed. And he's home, and he's just probably rolling in the dirt as we speak.
Good. Good. As cats are wont to do.
He is a huge dirt roller.
Yeah. I had a cat, Oliver, that was definitely a dirt roller. And even on the last day when we had to take him into the vet, he was rolling in the dirt. A good cat. I loved Ollie very much. Yeah.
As much as I love Huey, his vet loves him more.
Magic Marmot says, I stopped watching TV and movies a long time ago to free up time for me to do stuff. Yeah, I keep it on in the background. I'm not really watching it as much, and there's times when there's something I definitely have to sit down and pay attention to, and I do try and do that, but that time is not as common as it used to be. Yeah. So let's talk.
Did you do something new about my setup?
What about your setup?
It's different.
You still have your bears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got this really dumb thing off of the Chinese that Temu website, but I'm so in love with it. It's this thing that clicks onto my side table, and it has a giant, huge, heavy-duty wire thing that attaches to my phone, and it just suspends in front of me, and I love it.
Nice. That's cool.
Now, because before I had it on my laptop and it was so far away, now it's like, this is cool, and I don't have to hold it anymore.
Yay! Hands-free podcasting. Woo!
So the other reason why it's waving is because it's my fan is blowing on it, because it's 28 degrees in my house.
28 degrees Celsius.
Yes, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Sorry, I'm not.
I will do the translation. I am good at this. So 28 C in F is. Let's see, in F.
76.
82.4.
82.4.
Yeah.
In my house.
Yeah. So that's high.
Yeah.
That's warm.
I know our air conditioning sucks. We've got to get it fixed, but we're poor, so.
Yeah, Magic Marmot, I don't know where you got that math, but I used a calculator. I used a converter online. Let's see. 76 and then yeah, like haven't watched TV and movies a lot like that. I caught up on season 2 of Invincible finally, and then Ian and I are going to sit down and watch The Boys. It's just been hard because we've been
that's what I'm catching up on. I'm finished. I'm rewatched season 2. I'm halfway. I've got 2 episodes left of season 3 to rewatch. And then I'm going to start in 4. Yeah. Then I'm going to start 4. But right now, actually, I've detoured and I'm starting in on Gen V. So I want to finish that before I get into 4.
So I think I'm done with panel 1, which means
I like Armand. Armand looks excellent.
Thank you. Which means I am heading into, I think, panel 3. Are you done with your panel, Dale?
What do you think?
Well, let me pull you up in the big window in just a second.
The Armand looks pretty happy for a pawn in this time-space continuum of ours.
Let's see. Let me put you in the big window. Can you move it up a little bit?
City! Oh yeah, look at Santa. He looks excellent. Although I don't know if anyone realizes it's Santa, but he still looks good.
Let's see. Sunday.
Oh, Armand's got suspenders too. That's excellent.
Oh my gosh, the balloons. I love it. It's awesome. Yes, and so again, what I kind of did for mine was, has this happened to you? This wouldn't have happened if you shopped at the Suspender and Kilt Emporium. It's just, I don't know. It's so bizarre.
I love it.
Okay, panel 3.
Bizarre is my favorite MO.
So are we continuing with the commercial for panel 3? Or are we having like our team deciding to go down to the Emporium to pick up suspenders?
So they won't trip over themselves.
I think it should segue into a non sequitur where now all of the main characters are in the commercial dancing in a line, all wearing kilts and suspenders.
Another dance off?
Yeah, we just had a dance.
Oh God.
So much dancing. So much dancing, Dale.
Dancing.
I like the idea of them being in the commercial, but I think just all them wearing suspenders with kilts, and just like Philo and the crew.
No, they're not dancing. They start a barbershop quartet because they're all wearing suspenders and kilts together.
Does kilt and barbershop go together?
No.
Not really, no. Suspenders and barbershop does.
Yeah. Oh, on that note, so I got kicked out of the Star Trek group today for the stupidest reason.
What did you do? What did you do?
Somebody
nothing.
Posted a picture of their cat wearing a little Star Trek uniform and saying that their cat had crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. And like they had posted pictures of this cat in the group, and everyone liked this cat, and everyone was saying goodbye. And so I was thinking of Star Trek 2, The End, and I said, in stars plays bagpipes. Well, they considered that a crass joke, and they kicked me out of the group.
That doesn't make. That's kind of.
I'm sorry. It
I
Yeah.
said
seems
it's the
appropriate.
stupidest reason.
I don't
It's the
think
stupidest reason. I thought it was Star Trek related to say plays bad bagpipes because that's what Scotty did at the end of the Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are like, you're being disrespectful, blah blah blah, and I got kicked out of the group, and I'm like, really over that? I thought I
To
wasn't
my
trying to
end,
be
you're being
crass.
respectful. And it's better
it was
than
a Star
the-
Trek group.
Yeah.
I thought that's respectful. It's because Scotty was respecting Spock. I hope I'm not spoiling this 40-year-old movie for anybody. The Spock.
Okay, do me a favor. Please don't call a 40-year-old movie.
Yeah, instead call it a movie from the last century, from the
Oh,
1900s.
You're right.
Thanks,
Call it a
Robin.
movie from the 1900s.
That helps a lot. Okay,
Yeah, the
all right.
1900s.
Whatever
The movies from the
panel you have to
1900s.
draw next, Amber, your punishment is you must have bagpipes.
Okay, so they have bagpipes while they're trying on their kilts and in suspenders.
Yes. All of the characters are in their new kilts and suspenders playing bagpipes. And then my panel will be Armand.
Maybe the barbershop quartet is a bagpipe quartet.
Okay, I am just gonna put plays bagpipes the
Okay.
same way that I wrote it in the group.
Yeah.
At the bottom of it.
I'm kicking you out, Amber. You're kicked out.
Okay. I know what the next panel will be after that.
What's that?
Armand is
Armand
caught
gets to be personality. Of course, he's happy. That's what Magic Marmot
No,
says. What'd
no,
you say?
you can't.
You're right,
draw-
Magic Marmot.
Okay, I'm going to draw Armand making out with a set of bagpipes
Okay.
because that's the old.
You know what? That made me laugh because the Deep and the boys.
Yes. That. Well, the Deep and that dolphin had something going on.
No,
Before
in season 3, he gets very intimate with an octopus.
Okay, it's a very old joke about a guy comes into a bar with a fishbowl and there's an octopus in it. And the bartender says, what's with the octopus? And the guy says, this octopus is the most musically talented octopus in the world. It can play any instrument. And the bartender says, well, we've got a band every night. They haven't shown up yet. But, the instruments are on stage. I'll bet you $100 that this octopus can't play every instrument. So the guy says, okay, I'll bet the 100. And he points to the stage where all the instruments are. And his octopus gets out of the fishbowl and goes across the floor and gets up on the stage, gets on the piano and starts playing Beethoven on the piano. And the bartender just goes, wow. And then, the octopus goes and picks up a guitar and starts playing Spanish guitar. The bartender's going, wow. And the octopus goes and picks up a trumpet and starts playing the trumpet. And the bartender's going, wow. And then the octopus goes and over to the bagpipes and just starts jumping up and down on the bagpipes. And the bartender says, okay, you owe me $100. And the guy says, wait. As soon as he realizes he can't fuck it, he'll play it.
That's a pretty good one. I've not heard that one before.
It's old.
I like old ones, and I haven't heard that one before.
And so I'm going to have Armand in a sensuous embrace with some bagpipes.
I love it.
I think in the last panel, yeah, I forgot to add Otis's stipple. I gotta add Otis's stipple so we know it's Otis.
Yeah, at the beginning of the episode of The Boys where they have the Deep with the octopus, there's like a disclaimer where they're like, no animals were harmed in the making of this, and
Yeah.
in fact, in a pursuant to not harm any animals, we spent like an obscene amount of money on computer graphics.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, again, we watched like most of the first season, and we didn't get through the whole season because just got busy being parents. And then we're gonna pick it up again, but we just haven't had a chance to pick it up again. So it's just been it really is a time suck to have children. It's true. But that's okay. I'd rather have children. No. Okay. We'll give them suspenders. I am going to put Dale in the main panel so that we're not looking at my bad drawing.
Love finds a way.
I'm going to have Otis playing the bagpipes, I think.
Oh, I have some interesting comic book news.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I saw somebody mentioning it online, and I didn't do any research on it, so it's just a little blurb that I have to say. But someone was talking about how they're redoing Penthouse Comics.
Yeah. I just heard that. Someone, I forget who posted it. Was that Cipperley? No, not Cipperley. So I think it was someone from the Cartoon Art Museum, because there's an article about how they aren't going to use AI.
Yeah.
I hope not, you know.
No, they discovered it, and then they decided to do a big article about it.
Good.
But the thing that's interesting to me is when Penthouse Comics first came out, and I have most of them, they had this amazing roster of artists that they were using. Like, they had Scott Hampton doing adult comics. I was really impressed with Jason Pearson's work. There's a couple other people too. It's been a while since I looked at them. So I'm wondering if they're going to be as kind of innovative as they were before.
I never worked for Penthouse, but I did do one published drawing for Playboy, and then I used to clean up the Femgrin for the letters section for a while. You know, I didn't draw her. I just kind of cleaned up the drawings because the guy that had been doing them, his eyes started to go and they got really abstract, so they needed to just be tightened. Yeah, it'd been the same guy since like forever doing those comics.
That's interesting. Well, Bob Fingerman famously worked in the adult magazine industry.
Who's the Italian artist that was controversial when he came over to Marvel for a while? Is it Milo?
Oh, Milo Manara.
Yeah, Milo Manara. Yeah, beautiful artist. I love his work.
He drew Quick.
No, he was just there for like a couple of covers. He was a guest. That's it.
Yeah, but one of those covers was the Spider-Woman cover, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this stuff?" You know.
Oh,
I think that's one of the reasons why they cut him.
He's the wrong generation for now, unfortunately. His heyday was the 80s. And his most famous comic is a comic called Click, which is a girl, if I remember correctly, who has this guy has a remote control that can turn her on. So she'll be in certain situations and he'll turn her on and she's all like, oh. Yeah. So, you know, he's Italian. It's a different thing. Go read some heavy metal magazines.
Oh, I have a little store. Magic Marmot actually had a tiny pile, maybe about 1.5 foot tall, of heavy metal magazines I bought from him for $50.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're from the 80s through the early 2000s. You know, not every issue, but a good amount of those issues. Yeah.
I've got a ton of them too, actually.
Yeah.
The last one I bought was when the Boulet brothers took over. That was fun. And when COVID happened, I was wondering if that was going to be the end of the comic book world. You know what I mean? Because everything was shutting down, and I was like, you know, floppies are kind of already on the way out. What's going to happen? Yeah. So I kind of bought the last issue that you could get of Heavy Metal at the time, because I was like, This will be my symbolic goodbye to comics.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Thank God.
Okay, come on. Work with me. Work with me, computer. Thank you. All right.
You should put like little hearts around him so we know that he's kind of like getting it on.
Getting it on
Instead of just being a sweaty guy.
with the bagpipes.
Yeah. Instead of just being a sweaty guy.
Yeah, and then I'll put me in the big window for a while because it looks like I actually know what I'm doing now. Kind of.
Speaking of the Boulet brothers, I just saw on their Twitter feed that they're going to be doing an issue of Superman.
Oh, good.
Have you ever heard of the Boulet brothers?
I am not that familiar with them, actually. You know way more about comics than I do. I made comics in kind of an isolated bubble because there wasn't a lot available in the shops around me when I grew up, aside from like Marvel, DC, and Image, you know? And so like that was my exposure. And then when I went to college, that's when my mind expanded to the rest of the world and their comics. And, a lot of independents and stuff were introduced to me. I knew independents were being made. I just, like the Hernandez brothers, I didn't know about until college. Like I was an idiot. I still am.
No, it doesn't make you an idiot. Stop saying that. What I was about to say is thank God for fucking college.
Yeah.
If there weren't places where you could broaden your horizons and educate yourself, they're so important. No, the Boulet brothers are actually not comic book artists. They are the bizarro world of RuPaul's Drag Race, basically. They are very goth, they're very glamorous, and they're very horror-oriented, but they love comics and cartoons. And they're very fascinating because what they are is they've actually been lovers for like 30 years. But they've styled themselves as the Boulet brothers, but they're always in drag as women. And they do like sort of mirror imaging of themselves. They don't look the same. They're different heights.
Yeah.
But like if one has a horn on the left, the other will have the horn on the right. You know what I mean? Like they'll do sort of really interesting mirror imaging. Their looks are to die for. So Drag Race is like a competition where, the best drag artist wins. And they have to do either a lip syncing challenge or sometimes they have to do a design challenge.
Yeah.
In the Boulet Brothers Dragula, it is so dark and spooky that your challenges are designed to push you to your limits. So like, they'll make you eat rancid meat, or they'll put you in a coffin and pour weird stuff on you. And the first person to bow out is the first one out. Like you have to be tough. And it's really, like I say, when I say pushes the boundaries, it really pushes the boundaries. Like the first season, final episode, one of the drag artists came out as a nun that had been raped. So the habit was ripped up. She was covered in blood and her crucifix was up her butt. And she took it out during the performance. Like, you know what I mean? Dragula is on another level. And
Definitely
it was huge in the underground scene in Los Angeles. And it's now become quite people are aware of it, and it's really popular now. And like I said, it's sort of like the bastard stepchild of RuPaul's Drag Race because it's something else, and I love it. I love Dragula so much. It was the first time they had a bio queen I saw on like a drag show, which I thought was excellent. They really challenged gender norms, and it's a good show. I love Dragula. So when they're going to do a Supergirl story, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I never got into like RuPaul's Drag Race. My reality television that I watch, that's like, kind of embarrassing reality television is Ian and I will watch Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And it's, we are 3 seasons behind on that. We'll watch an episode with dinner. And it's, I admit it's terrible and it's totally a reality show, but I think everyone deserves to have at least one kind of trash show in their life. That's not like a trash show. Like there's
Well,
they have
Drag
art.
Race is trashy, I admit, but at the
Yeah.
same time, there is such an artistry to their costumes and their
Yeah.
makeup, and some of them are as hilarious as fuck. Like, and some can sing, some do these amazing performances. Like,
Yeah.
I saw a lip sync from Drag Race France season 2 that
Yeah.
like almost changed my life. Like, I was crying so hard, and it was like the lip sync performed on like 5 different levels. It was
Yeah.
so powerful. And it was me. I was like, I'm witnessing art on the purest form of art. So like, I know Drag Race is trash. I'm not saying it isn't.
Oh no,
But you
no.
know
Like,
what?
like I said,
There's
everyone
Canada's
deserves
Drag
one.
Race, so I get to
Yeah.
see some queens from my own country, which I
Yeah.
love. So I don't know. I like it.
No, I'm not saying anything bad about it. Like I said, I think everyone deserves to have like one of those like guilty pleasure shows. You know, where it's like you get in and you're having fun with it, and there's no cringe factor because you're enjoying yourself. You know,
Mhm.
everyone deserves one of those. Magic Marmot says, my parents once bought me a copy of EC Comics when I was like 7 or 8 years old and fell in love. And then he says he used to watch Cops. Actually, we used to watch Cops together. It was
Your
fun.
parents let you have an EC comic when you were 8? I'm surprised. Those are a pretty gory things sometimes.
Yeah.
That you have very cool parents, Magic Marmot.
Yeah, I only met his mom once before she passed. So yeah, we'll have this, and then he is.
Magic Marmot says they were clueless.
Yeah, they were clueless.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Let's do his other hand in here. Okay, and he's gonna be kind of like this. Yeah, kind of looks like that. And then him playing this. You know, a bagpipe is surprisingly complicated.
Oh yeah. I tried to play one once and I almost fainted because you have to have so much lung capacity to keep blowing, and then at the same time you're blowing so that you can also do the finger stuff and squeeze. Yeah, it's really hard. It's quite impressive people that can do that.
Well, not only that, but you're breathing, right? Because you're blowing, and then you got to take breaths while there's still air in the back as you're squeezing. And then you got to blow back into it, and you got to take a breath. So you got to pace your breaths with what you're playing. There's like breathing exercises and stuff that they do.
It's crazy. But I love the sound of bagpipes, actually. I'll listen to bagpipes anytime.
Look for Allie the Piper on YouTube.
Allie the
Okay.
Piper.
Yeah.
A-L-I or A-L-L-Y?
L-L-Y.
L-L-Y.
Yeah,
Cool is not the right word, says Magic Marmot, and love the tongue. I just use an air compressor to play the bagpipes. You just keep going with it.
Allie the Piper.
Did you know, Dale, that when an octopus wants to have sex, he has a different tentacle than all the rest, and it like goes into their head kind of part and like scoops out the sperm and then reposits it into the lady's receptacle or whatever.
And the lady sometimes will just pull off the arm, the female,
Yeah,
and just
Yep.
take it with her. And
Yeah,
do it
because it's a weird little arm. It's like almost
Yeah.
like a hook tentacle. It's not like the other tentacles.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought you'd like to know that in case you want to have that happening to your bagpipe.
Little too
The
late.
other thing is, if you watch octopus have sex, they just kind of hug each other and sort of spin around in the ocean, and it's really pretty to just watch them kind of do that. It's like a sort of dance.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen octopus sex.
That's because you have never worked in an Apple store repairing computers.
Okay.
I'm part of a group on Facebook called Octo Nation, and they play a lot of interesting videos, and so that's how I got to see it.
Yeah, you've talked about it on the show before, being part of that group. And
It's a cool group.
Yeah, well, I mean, octopuses are cool. octopi, I should say.
No, they just call them octopuses. Actually, it's not octopi. That's a famous misnomer, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
You can Google it, but it's ungrammatically correct. Octopuses, even though it sounds awkward, is correct. Octopodes.
Let's see. Octopodes. Octopodes. Says.
Octonauts.
Yeah. Octopus sex, the gift that keeps on giving. And then Greek versus Latin, says Magic Marmot. Yeah. My cat is, he's fat, and so we've been calling him Archimedes.
Archimedes?
Archimedes, like he's meaty.
Oh, meaty. Oh, I got it.
Archimedes.
He's a meaty, chonky guy.
Yeah, he's a chonk, and he's the biggest cat we have of the 4 right now, where, he definitely needs to lose some weight.
Do not weight shame your cat.
Archimedes. Yes. Columbo, on the other hand, that was up in cat camp briefly, he's our skinny little boy. He does not eat over what he, like what fills him up. And so
maybe he's still being cautious.
No, he just doesn't like to eat he doesn't like to eat that much, I guess you can say, as much as the other cats. He just has a smaller appetite.
The weirdest thing for me is like my first bonding moment with my cat, because I got her from a rescue when she came from a hoarding situation. And I think I mentioned this before. She wanted me to sit with her while she was eating to like watch for bad guys at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Because they just they need that comfort that they know nothing's going to sneak up behind them while they're eating.
Yeah, exactly. My my cat Bruce has graduated to having wet food exclusively. His teeth
Lucky
are just
guy.
Well, his teeth are he's old. He's probably about 12 or 13. And so he just wasn't eating as much because I think it hurt him to eat with his teeth. And so we've gone exclusively to wet food with him. And so he is on a Hobbit feeding schedule where he gets he'll go in for 11sies. He goes in for he goes in for, second breakfast, and he'll have lunch and supper and dinner and dessert, but we only feed him a little bit at a time because we were trying to get him to put back on weight. And, he'll leave the meaty bits behind and eat all the gravy. And so, yeah. Let me do this.
Yeah, my Chinese cat, I got her off, she was in the garbage can next to my apartment as a kitten. So obviously a street kitten. And I had to get all her teeth removed, but I waited till we moved back to Canada because I just didn't want to get that operation done in China. I just didn't trust them that much. But she had to have her whole entire mouth, all her teeth removed, because they were just rotting out of her gums. And she actually was happier afterwards. So I was so sad because I was she must have been in so much pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. I kept trying to give her wet food and she didn't want it. She only wanted her hard stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what she was used to, And
she was a funny girl. I had when I found her, she fit in the palm of my hand. And when she was passing, my doctor was saying, vet was saying, your cat is older than you think it is. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, these bones are the bones of a 12-year-old arthritic cat. And I'm like, she's not older than I think she is, because I had her in the palm of my hand as a kitten. She must have been 3 weeks old. You know what I mean? She was so young. But because she was a street cat, she just had too many things wrong with her. Yeah. And then he was also showing me in her x-ray that her kidneys, one was shaped like a triangle and the other one was twisted all the way around. And so she only lived to 5. It was really upsetting because I felt I wish I had more time with her. She was such a great cat. But my friend pointed out to me once that, she wouldn't have lived very long if I hadn't have found her, and I gave her 5 good years at least, you know, because I like anything wrong with her, I took care of her big time. Like she was spoiled. But yeah, I miss her. She was my Nym. I named her Nymeria because of her ears, and then when I found Arya at the Humane Society, I was like, oh, I better get Arya because Nymeria just passed.
Yeah.
If you know your Game of Thrones characters.
But yeah, Game of Thrones wasn't one that I got into. I just didn't have HBO. And again, you know, that's about the time that I stopped watching previews, and I'm like, oh, I'll wait to see what people think. And everyone was raving about it. Everyone's raving about it. I'm like, yeah, this has to be on my list. I'm going to watch this. And then the last season came and everyone's like, oh, this is shit. And I'm like,
well, I'd read the books. Yeah. My brother got me into them long before there was even the inkling of a TV show ever occurring. Because the books only happened because Gurm was doing, I think it was Babylon 5. Yeah. And he was tired of people telling him what to do and what he couldn't do. So he was like, I'm going to write my own series of books and I'm going to put 1 million characters in it. I'm going to do whatever I want. So like it never was supposed to be a television show. But
it's just that it had so many readers that, you know, Hollywood approached him and the money was so good. He did it. Yeah. But he really should have finished the story before they started the show. Because I think he got so burnt out on his own property that he just, I think that's why he hasn't finished the series.
No, it's probably never going to be finished.
So I think I'm done with my panel, which is panel 3. And then Dale, yours was panel 4, if you numbered it for me. Oh. And then,
I love how Philo looked like really proud of his suspenders and kilt.
Well,
the dog
he's trying them on. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Magic Marmot says, one of my dogs will be 12 this winter. She was in some very bad pain with her hips, and I was thinking she was heading for the final time, so we decided to try a new treatment, and she's now like a puppy again. What's the new treatment?
Is it CBD? Because that's one of the things they talk about is how CBD has been really good for arthritic dogs.
Oh, good.
My cat Huey gets CBD because he has a limp.
Or what's wrong with your cat Huey?
He got a broken leg when he was young, so he has a permanent limp. But
poor guy.
CBD helps him out a lot. Oh, don't feel too sorry for him.
Well, Magic Marmot says, Librela. Is that a steroid? I wonder what that is. Librela.
I don't know. Some kind of vet medication. So they're playing bagpipes. That's what's going on in panel 3. In panel 4, we have Sunday in Suspender City. There's a sale going on. There's Santa Claus. What happens then?
No, I think we have the number messed up here. Because you did number 1.
And then I did 3.
Okay. And then you did 3, and then I did 4.
4, and then
it's
I'm on
anti-nerve, it's an anti-nerve growth antibody therapy for arthritis, but that's cool.
Very cool. So Love Finds a Way. We got an octopus having fun with the bagpipes here, and now are we going to go back to the money bin? Are we done with our commercial? Now we return to our regularly scheduled comic.
Yeah, I think we ought to return.
Okay. Back. And so back to our regularly scheduled comic. That's the panel I will do, and then you will pick up from where we are in the money bin with the money on top of them. I'm sure Meow is upset. And then
can I suggest something?
I know what my panel is.
Should we have a final panel with the bagpipes and the octopus? In my mind, I imagine the octopus like all wiped out and happy and like exhausted, and then somebody like Philo or Otis is like picking up the bagpipes like this, like by their finger, and it's all like wilted and sad looking, and he's taking it away.
No, I think Meow needs to find the bagpipes.
Meow needs to find the bagpipes.
Yeah.
His just reward.
He's like yelling, like, who had sex with my bagpipes?
Well, were they in the
and
vault?
It's gotta be super slimy because octopus are really slimy, even when they're not completing their sex act.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, their body
I'm definitely
secretes
drawing that one.
like mucus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just slime. It's mucus. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna say commercial break for my caption, and then write in what we're gonna do.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Let's see. We were talking FOMO stuff about Comic-Con.
Good old San Diego. I went in 2000. My first and only time.
I went from the age of 6 to about the age of 24, 25 every year. And so, like, I got to meet Jack
That's
Kirby.
dedication.
Yeah, I got to meet Jack Kirby. And then some of those years and stuff, I was, like, working. I worked at the graffiti design booth for Kevin Smith before he got really big. It was after he did Mallrats, but before he did Dogma. And I worked for Wildstorm and Homage Studios, just, you know, collecting money and stuff for people getting signings from Jim when he was signing at the booth, and, you know, stuff like that. So there was a couple years I was working.
Did you ever get to meet Travis Charest?
I never met him in person. No. No.
That would be the big Homage Studio guy I'd want to talk to.
Travis didn't live in La Jolla.
You should read what Magic Marmot's writing.
Let's see. I also secrete mucus. I'm in Mallrats as an extra. Oh, hey, that's awesome. I think we discussed that before. Yeah.
I never discussed it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. When Travis Charest was working for Wildstorm, I was in middle school, and I started as my internship at like the age of 13, right when I was entering high school. So we were getting artwork from him, but I never got a chance to meet him because he didn't live in La Jolla. He didn't live in California. And so we would just get it shipped in the mail. And then it would be handed to like Richard Friend or some of the other inkers.
You've become really good friends with Richard Friend.
We talk online. We're just with, like, you know, Facebook friends. That's not like a real friendship.
No, I'm saying James. James has become pretty, like, I think, or is it Richard Pace? Maybe I'm confusing the two.
Richard Pace is Canadian.
No, it's either Richard Friend or Richard Pace has been doing a bunch of art in James's comic, Papa Cactus.
Yeah, that's Richard Friend.
Yeah, okay.
Did the artwork for him. Mm-hmm. I am so glad he stopped inking and he started doing his own art, because I love his art, right? It's not that he wasn't a great inker. He was a fantastic inker, because he's such a good artist, but, like, I just love his art. Like, I'm glad that it's not hidden behind somebody else's style anymore. Let's see. I'm also in the Star Trek 6 Blu-ray release in the Klingon Hamlet Extra. Very nice.
How did we see you in Mallrats? Like, which scene do we look for? I'm in some comic book. I'm in an issue of JSA, and I'm in something else too.
I have a friend, Holly Amos, who is in 3 Star Trek books and in like 2 or 3 different comics storylines. You know, as like Lieutenant Holly Amos, like they turned her into a Star Trek character. Yeah, cool. And yeah, she used to call herself the Trekspert on Twitter, and just an amazing amount of knowledge in her head about Star Trek. She was brought in because she has an organization background and degree and stuff to basically organize the prop room, and they had her in charge of it for 3 years. You know, like she was brought in as like a temp to organize the prop room, and they kept her for 3 years. Yeah, nice. She was so good at her job. So the scenes where they're just about to talk to the 3-breasted tarot card lady, I'm directly between them in the background. Nice.
Gotta rewatch it just to see you.
Let's see. Now back to your
I'm not a big Kevin Smith fan, and it's a dumb reason, but it's because he did that Black Cat comic, and she's my favorite character. And he went on Jay Leno and swore up and down that the series was done, because at the time he had such a long history of fucking the dog when it came to finishing comic book series.
Yeah.
And he swore that Black Cat series was done, and it wasn't. And he did it so often, and I was just like, if it was literally anybody else, they would have been blackballed from the industry for being such a screw up and screwing up deadlines and publishing issues. And because in comics, everything's done 3 months in advance, and if you screw up a deadline, you really screw things up for people.
I mean, we were just talking about
Kevin
Travis
Smith,
Charest.
he gets a get out of jail free card. So
We were just talking about Travis Charest. Travis Charest was removed from Wildcats because he couldn't keep deadline. And even though Space Girl looks amazing, you only see a strip size panel come out once every 5 months.
he's
I love
but I
his
don't think
work.
he goes around on national television promising things that he can't do.
I suppose that's true. Regular schedule. Now back
But
to
yeah, I'm over it now, but at the same time, I just think there's a lot of hype that surrounds him that doesn't exactly deserve.
No, I mean, I got Kevin's stories. I lost a lot of respect working for him. And, because I was a fan, right? And when I worked for him, I was maybe about 16, 17 years old. I responded to an ad, I think it was even in the paper, where they needed somebody to work Comic-Con who was familiar with Comic-Con. And so I applied. I've gone for years. I know the floor really well and stuff. And so all I was doing was selling shirts at Graffiti Design, right? Yes, people would come up and then, I want that Alex Ross shirt. And I would grab it in their size. I'd hand it to them, take their money, put it away and stuff. It was the first year that Square was a thing. And, Kevin was at that time, and again, this is before Dogma. This was after Mallrats, before Dogma. At that time, he wasn't.
They're chasing Amy in between there.
No, this was
chasing Amy was after Mallrats and before Dogma.
Yeah, this was after Chasing Amy. Okay, right. And so he wasn't full of himself yet. Right at that point, he was still sitting at the booth working with the rest of us, shilling shirts and taking orders, moving boxes and everything. That year, the year he did Dogma, I didn't see him. And I mean, the Graffiti Design booth was like one of his things of let's put comic book images and logos and stuff on shirts, right? That was like one of his ideas, and he wasn't there because he was too big for his company. I got some stories about him. I don't want to, I try not to speak ill about people, but he was not very respectful to people that worked for him. He was kind of a jerk to work for. And, he's the kind of person who punches down instead of pulling up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and so it was kind of disappointing. That whole thing of never meet your heroes. Yeah. It's like he kind of put a bad taste in my mouth about him by just not being the persona he is in interviews and stuff. In interviews and stuff, he's super excited about comics and, let's do this. And I'm a fan just like you and his stuff. But, in person, he has a lot of pessimism.
No, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, he has a lot of pessimism.
Can we ask Magic Marmot about his own movies? He says he's better in his own videos.
Yeah, absolutely. The scene where they're just about to talk through base. I'm better in my own videos, punching down his insecurity.
So what videos are you talking about, Magic Marmot?
Oh, he has a YouTube channel.
A what?
A YouTube channel.
Oh, a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Is it like yours where he does art, or does he make movies?
It's kind of a blog, I want to say. Yeah, it's kind of a getting to know yourself blog, I guess. Like almost like a diary. Like almost like a diary.
Hey, you know what I started doing the other day? I started making a playlist of my favorite music so that when I go into the old folks' home, they don't force me to listen to garbage.
You know, I thought about when I pass away eventually in this life, I want to have all my sketchbooks and art and stuff that I've never sold or anything put into a time capsule.
Why not give it to a university?
What university would want some nobody's sketchbooks? No,
You'd be
but
surprised.
I would put it into a time capsule, not to be open for like 200 years or something. And I think in 200 years, it might be interesting to see something from 200 years ago. You know,
That's a good point.
You know, and so that's my whole thing is that they'll open it and they'll be like, whoa, this artist left their whole life inside this time capsule through sketchbooks and journals and drawings and stuff, you know?
When I went to San Jose State in the art department, we used to have contests about, you know, how do we want our funeral to go? I mean, what would be the worst thing that you could do? And for a while, I thought what I wanted to do was have my ashes mixed with gum arabic and made into pastels and have a life drawing session at my funeral. And people could draw from a model using my ashes.
That's cool.
And then I realized what would be even cooler is to have my ashes sprinkled over the food at my wake and then tell people afterwards.
No, I don't
You
think you can
inhaled
feed
me.
yourself. Yeah, I don't think you can feed yourself to other people. I think that, you know, vorophilia is like the desire to be eaten. You know?
Well, my desire is to. I've heard about this company that can like compress your ashes and make this like beautiful sort of like galaxy-looking glass weight.
Yeah.
And so I want them to do that, and then they're gonna throw that in the ocean so that I can be beautiful in the ocean forever.
My father's ashes went into the ocean at San
See, that's just ashes in the ocean. It dissipates. I want to be like an actual object in the ocean.
Oh, and you know, I can see that as well. But my dad's ashes jumped in the ocean. You know, he really wanted to go back there and be part of the ocean. So it was interesting. It was like when Mom opened up the thing, the whole ashes came out into the ocean. Like we thought we would like spread them, but they just kind of in a lump came out.
Yeah, ashes can be kind of chunky.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what we ended up doing.
At least it didn't fall back in your face like that excellent scene in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 10:29. Did you realize?
I did not realize. I am. I see kind of a little bit of what's going on with you, with Meow going ew. Like,
Meow is not happy. Armand looks excellent. Armand is very happy.
Oh yeah. Armand should be smoking a cigarette. You know, just to emphasize that it's a good time for him.
Maybe have like three. He'll have a cigarette and 3 different tentacles.
So YouTube / Magic Marmot. I fix stuff, I make stuff, and I like dogs. I'm mostly behind the scenes tech. And then he has a link to his latest video, and then another link to TV Online. Oh yeah, TV was where Magic Marmot and I met. He was the sound engineer, and I was one of the puppeteers. And so it was good. It was a puppet show for adults.
What was the name of this?
Transylvania Television.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and so I was Esmeralda the Gypsy, and then I played Miss Mansfield.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I was occasionally Furry's Acromonster's hands when, like, there's a scene where furry acro monster had to wear gloves in order to like do stuff. He's wearing goggles and stuff, but Gordon couldn't put the gloves onto his hands when he was wearing the furry hand, right? And his hands were too small for the gloves because they were puppet sized. So my hands were the gloves. I'm sitting there pulling the things and stuff because my hands actually fit into the gloves. Yes, that is how you make shows. Is you go, how do we make this work? Okay, it's working. Don't touch it.
What's happening on your panel there, Amber?
Not a lot.
It's a lot of rain.
No,
I
back to
see.
your
Okay,
regularly
cool.
scheduled comic commercial break. Yeah, so I was just gonna try and I don't know, dress up the background a little bit. You
could do you remember in the 50s when they would have the xylophone would be like ding dong ding. You could put that in a corner like a ding and a dong and a ding. Now back to your regular scheduled cover.
Yeah, I guess I could see that with the little peacock in the corner from CBS.
Sure, you could do that too. Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's go back to the 60s.
1950s CBS peacock.
Throw back to
we're
the
going
50s.
way back in images. Did they adopt the peacock when they went to color? I think they did.
Think they did, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing the peacock in black and white at all.
No.
In my reference. So.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah, so let's see.
Okay, I've got a question for the two of you.
Yeah.
Within driving distance of where both of you live, do you have drive-in movie theaters?
Yes, they just opened one in Loveland that I guess was one of the classic theaters going back to the 50s, and it sat kind of vacant for a while, and they just reopened it last year.
Okay.
We've got one, and we've had one apparently for years and years and years, and they show pretty recent movies, but it's always like a double bill.
Yeah, and when I lived in Minneapolis, I went to the drive-in in St. Paul.
Okay. It's
and
just
then, yeah.
Oh, go on. Well. Oh,
I was just going to say, in Southern California, they also have one in Anaheim that was also resurrected.
It's just we only have. I just realized how few of them we have now in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah,
of course. I think you should be grateful that there's any at all.
Sabrina wants to go see Deadpool, and we're gonna compromise and go to a drive-in and bring lawn chairs.
That works. It's cheaper.
Well, it's just still in the masking stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. Do you think you'll reach a point where you feel comfortable taking off the mask?
So long as I'm taking care of my folks, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're vulnerable. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, caring for your folks is not a bad thing. I just
and it's not just that, I work in an old folks home, and they catch a lot of stuff, at the hospital and that, when they visit and stuff, like MRSA and C. diff. There's a lot of things you can still be catching, even though there's not COVID as prevalent as it was before.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you should read what Magic Marmot wrote.
Let's see. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. I've modified the song to "Let's all go to the potty" for the dogs. Yes, that works. Okay, so now back to your regularly scheduled comic. That's always a hard word for me to say. And then we got a big pile of treasure here and a bagpipe with him going, ew. There should be stink lines coming off the bagpipe, I think.
Well, he is saying ew.
Yeah. Well, he was saying ew. Now he is speaking in curse. Yeah. I want to see a dead poodle, says Magic Marmot. And so I feel like my panel needs more. We are like 5 minutes over, but I just kind of want to finish my panel first before I turn it off. So, you know, if you got something to go somewhere to be, you know, you don't have to hang out with me, you know. But yeah, I just want to kind of finish this.
Okay, is mine done?
Yeah, it looks done to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will. You're right. I should call it done. You know, I should respect the time limit the same way that we tell Chuck to respect the time limit. You know, our mutual friend Chuck does a show Saturday mornings. For my time, it is 11, so it would be 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then it's 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, where he just kind of does art challenges and Dale challenges him. So if you guys want to check that out, that is at twitch.tv/earthspace. So this is the last panel where we left off, which is the EU panel, which I highly, highly appreciate. Let me turn off the panels. And
Yeah, I love the giant, drippy, gross part.
Yes. So I will say good night to Mr. Dale. Mr. Dale Cipperley, thank you so much for joining us to be my guest artist today.
I love this show.
Yeah, and you know, it's wild and fun and crazy. I don't know when I'm going to get the Cliff Notes online for the average viewer to see, probably after I've had a chance to kind of work on them a little bit more. But I will do that soon. So thank you very much, Dale.
I have a plug. I have a plug.
Oh, plug.
Watch Zardoz.
Okay.
That was the same plug from last week.
It will continue to be the same plug.
Yeah.
It'll be our regular scheduled ending to the show, Zardoz.
Yes. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Dale. And then let me put up Miss Robin. Robin Fisher, my co-host and better half, who knows way more about comics than I do. Thank you so much for, you know, having the gift of gab and making things interesting and keeping us on track with our story.
And today stayed awake.
Yay! Yeah, I'm sure when you woke up last time, you're like, oh no, did I fall asleep on the show?
I think we almost to the end. I think I was asleep for like, what, 2 minutes in the last, like, yeah. I think it was pretty good last time.
I said good night. I'm like, good night, Robin. You know, when I did that. But good night, Robin. I will see you next week. And then everybody else, I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. And, you know, seeing that we are at the end of the show, I really enjoy doing this. And I appreciate you guys enjoy watching. Thank you so much. And have a good weekend.